Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to cook off with a real blast. We're doing a classic Italian lasagna, and this really is a beautiful dish. I cook this near enough every week, and if there's any left over I put it in the freezer, saves me cooking it the next week. I'm going to do this the authentic way, a couple of little twists in this, and I hope you enjoy it. I was taught this by some real Italians, by my mate Tony and his mum Italia, God bless her. And it really is a lovely, lovely recipe. So follow along and I'll show you how to do this the proper Italian way. See you in a moment. Okay, first thing to do, get yourself some olive oil into a pan over medium heat. Now that your pan's up to the correct heat with your olive oil in, get yourself some onions. I'm using a mixture of some red onions and some white onions. It's what I had in the fridge. And not want loads, but enough to give a good bit of flavour. And you want to cook these in the pan and just get them cooking very gently so that they go a golden brown. Right, next thing I'm going to do is add some garlic in. Some people say don't put onion and garlic in. I put it in because I like the garlic. And then I'm also going to put in some grated carrot and celery. Now, not a lot of people know this, the old Michael Caine joke, but you do use celery and carrot in with a mix. And this gives it another additional layer of flavour. And then once that's in there, we just mix it around. What we're doing now is we're cooking off that mixture of the onions, the garlic, the carrots and the celery. Covered it with a lid because I want that to go nice and slowly. I don't want to brown it or burn it too much. And in a separate pan, I'm going to add some olive oil, and then I'm going to cook off the basic meat ingredients. Now, with the meat, you add a 50% mixture of pork mince and beef mince. Obviously, if you don't eat pork, just use it all beef. But traditionally, you use pork and beef, and it gives it that bit of fattiness together. So that's what I'll do now. Right, this is on a medium heat, and what we're going to do is just let these cook off for a while. Keep your eye on it, you don't want it to burn. Pop a lid on the top of it. At the same time, keep an eye on your vegetables and just let them gently cook away, and then come back to it in a little while. Right, this is the stage that you want your vegetables to get to before you add them into your meat mixture. Right, we're now at the stage where the mince is ready and we're ready to add the vegetables into the mince. Right, you can see in here there's little bits of it that don't appear to be cooked, but don't worry, it's going in the oven and it will be cooked once it's gone through the rest of the process. I'll take the lid off of that. That's finished cooking. I'll now add these into the mince. Okay, that's all added in, and what we do is give this a stir around, and we don't have to wait any longer. We can add in the rest of the ingredients because it will all cook together. As I've said before, with Italian cooking, quality of ingredients is the main thing. It really does make a hell of a difference. So what I'm going to do is put in some red wine, and then what we do is put in some passata. Next thing we're going to do is put in some tomatoes. Chopped tomatoes already, so we don't have to do anything else to them. Give that a stir around, and then we'll add in some tomato puree. Give that a stir around, and then once that's cooked off for a little while, we will season it to taste. But while we're waiting for that, I'm going to add in a surprise ingredient, milk. Not a lot of people add milk to a bolognese. This is traditional. There's about 200 mils of it in here, so add that in. People think dairy in bolognese, but it does work. It gives it a lovely creamy taste. Changes the colour of it a little bit, but it gives it a lovely taste. And I'll be back in a minute. We're now going in with some spices. So I've got some oregano, so I'm going to use a good heaped teaspoon of that. And then the next thing we're going to put in is some mixed herbs, same again, and then some thyme. And then we want some salt. I'm using low salt here because it's a bit healthier for the heart. And as you can see, my body is a temple. Last but not least, a good grind of fresh black pepper. And then what you do is stir these in, let them blend together, and then, as I said, have a good taste of them and see if you need to add any more. Don't put too much in at the first stage because you can't take it away, but you can always add. Right, you let this cook off for about 5 minutes and then give it a taste. Right, that is now cooked. Put the lid on, take it off the heat, put it to one side, and now I'm going to cook the bechamel sauce, and then we can layer it all together. We'll add in the butter to the pan, and we'll melt the butter, and then we'll add in equal amounts of flour to the butter. The butter is now melted, so what I'll do is I'll add in the plain flour, and as I said before, it's equal amounts. I've got 100 grams of butter, unsalted, and 100 grams of plain flour. And I put that in, and then I mix that together, and what you do is you stir it up, and it goes a bit lumpy, and this is what is called making a roux. It's a classic French technique, and you cook out the flour. Don't have your heat too high, otherwise you'll end up burning it. You just want to bring it together. There's your stage ready for where you add some milk. What you do now is add a little bit of milk in, not all of it, just put some in, just so that you can bring it together. And then now you use a whisk rather than a spoon. And you mix this together until it becomes smooth. Because as you can see at the moment, with the milk added to it, it's got a little bit lumpy. So now I add a little bit more milk. You mustn't put lots of milk in at once. You just gradually do this. This has now come together. We'll just keep gradually stirring that. And we'll swap over again from the whisk back to the spoon. And then we'll just move it. And once that coats the back of the spoon, you'll know it's ready. Some more ingredients. We're going to add in some nutmeg. This is where I usually grate it and drop it in. So hopefully I won't do that today. A pinch of ground white pepper. Don't want to put black pepper in because it'll make all the bechamel look spotty. And then give this a good stir around, and then just wait for this to come together till it thickens up a little bit. Right, we're now at the stage where the bechamel is cooked and it's lovely and thick, and what we're going to do is add in some cheese to this to give it a little bit of an extra taste in there. I've got a mixture of Parmesan, Gruyere here, and just a little bit just to give it a little bit of an extra flavour, and we'll be back to the whisk again. Once this is mixed in, what we'll do is go over there and we'll layer everything up. We're ready for the fun part, which is assembling the lasagna. The first important thing is to make sure that the first part you put in is the bolognese mixture. Don't go straight in with the sheets, because otherwise you'll find they'll come out a little bit too crispy at the bottom. And spread it out in the pan. Obviously, according to the size of your pan is the amount of bolognese sauce that you put in. And then get your lasagna sheets and just layer them next to each other. Quite easy. Next thing, get yourself some of your bechamel sauce and pour this over your lasagna sheets. And make sure that you cover that evenly. So we've got our mixture here of Gruyere and Parmesan, and we'll spread a layer of that over. And then once again, we'll go in with some lasagna sheets. Okay, just keep doing this until you've filled it up, and then I'll see you for the cooking part. Right, that's all ready, preparation's done, it's all built. Now what we do is put it in the oven, preheated, 200 degrees C for 30 minutes. There we are, all done, out of the oven, ready to eat, but we can't eat it, it's far too hot. But take my word for it, it really is nice, and I really think you should make this. We love it, we have it every week almost, and if you make too much of it, just let it cool down, put it in the freezer. Let me know how you like it. And don't forget, please like and subscribe and leave us your comments. I'm sure you like this. See you all again soon. Bye.